10, 9.
You want answers? I want the truth!
Get ready for two guys who can't handle the truth.
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
But we can. Dave Palumbo, Chris Aceto. RXMuscle.com presents Heavy Muscle Radio.
Welcome to another episode of Heavy Muscle Radio. I'm Dave Palumbo, and I'm joined, as always, by the technician Chris Aceto on this August 10th, 2020 evening. And Chris, wow, big announcement this week. Finals positive.
You having a babe? You having the fourth child, Dave?
No.
Okay.
Phil Heath in the Olympia announced it.
Oh my goodness!
You surprised, huh?
Not at all.
You didn't predict that, though.
No, I did not predict it.
Usually, you are pretty good at predicting these things.
Yeah. But yeah, he's in.
What's your take on the whole thing?
Well, I mean, this is just total conjecture.
Of course.
But Phil, he's already gotten into it with Brandon, right?
Yeah.
War of words, and Phil probably looks back and said, "I would have beaten Brandon if I was there."
I'm sure.
And then Bills come in week 1 through week 52 after his loss to Rhoden up to week 104. And he says, you know what? Why not do it?
So you think it's a money thing?
Well, it's always a money. Well, no, I shouldn't say it's always the money doesn't hurt.
It's a lot of money. I don't blame.
But
I think he could have done it last year because of the money alone.
But I think that in this case, outside of the money, Phil wants to prove that he's the best bodybuilder in the world.
Still.
So, but the money factors in for sure. Because if the money was only like 80,000, he'd be sitting on the sidelines. If the money was 120,000, he'd probably be sitting on the sidelines.
Maybe.
So
look at it this way: we have a weird year. The Olympics taking place at the end of the year. We have possibly a lack of people in the lineup because we don't know if these international people can get over here. The Bonacs and Rammies, and there's a lot of great Roelly Winklaars. A lot of great guys in this lineup. They might not be able to make it. We don't know. I mean, they might not. And Rhoden, we're not sure. I know he wants to do the Olympia, but the case still hasn't been settled. We can talk about that in a little bit. But, I mean, who does he got to beat?
Brandon Curry.
Dexter Jackson. He's beaten him before.
Yeah, no, he's beaten him before.
Easily.
So he's obviously the guy to beat. And, if you put him in last year's lineup.
He might have won.
What do you mean he might have won?
I mean, he probably would have. I mean, we don't know. We don't know what he would have looked like. Here's the thing. I think that it was a good move on his part. I hate when people give up money. It bothers me. Like I lose sleep. I'm like, oh, he could have made 400 grand. The bottom line is that by taking the year off, Chris, people kind of forgot about the fact that they didn't like him. And I don't know why they didn't like him. Whatever the case may be, whatever they perceived him as being, he wasn't, at the end, they always start to hate all the champions at the end because I think they get sick of seeing them win every year. Now people see him as kind of the savior of bodybuilding. Phil's coming back. Yeah, we want to see Phil get that number 8. Have you felt the sentiment change towards him now?
No, not really. Honestly, I don't think the sentiment has changed.
I completely think. I think people are very excited about him coming back.
They may be excited about him coming back, but I think the sentiment has not changed with regard to people like Phil.
I don't agree. I think people are excited about it. I think that people.
No. There's a difference between. So what has changed in your mind that now you like Phil?
Well, I never disliked Phil, but I'm just saying. I thought he shouldn't have won a few times, but that doesn't mean I disliked him. There are genuinely. I mean, I wouldn't have interviewed him if I didn't like him. There are genuinely people out there who don't like Phil. I don't know. They just felt like F Phil. We wanted to lose.
Well, you know what? People don't like Phil because he's arrogant as hell, but he has a reason to be arrogant. I mean, there's,
right.
It's it's one thing. People hate somebody who is arrogant and they can't deliver the goods. But, Phil is, I guess the word's arrogant. I have no problem saying arrogant.
You got to be arrogant to win the Olympia, right? You got to be confident in yourself.
But he backs it up.
Right. Jay's got a confident air about himself. Oh, and
but there's a difference.
Well, Jay's has a better delivery. If you ask Jay when he was competing, who's going to win the Olympia, he wouldn't even hesitate and say me. I mean, you could say that's arrogant. I mean, it's not. It's just confident. But
he wouldn't have meltdowns at he wouldn't have meltdowns at press conferences when somebody says, I look really good and I'm going to win this year.
Right. Jay is just very good at handling himself, politically speaking. That's a skill he's got. I mean, not a lot of people can handle themselves with that much pressure. When you have the world of social media on top of you, you got people asking you a million questions, and they painted him as the bad guy in that film, Generation Iron. So he had a lot of there was a lot of pressure on the guy, and he's not as savvy as Jay is. There's not many people out there that are. Ronnie handled the hype and hoopla. And remember, there was no social media when Ronnie was around, but he handled it because he's so laid back that like nothing bothers him.
Yeah. Well, you know what?
That's a different air of confidence.
I mean, you'll see the supporters for Phil who they'll come out of the the woodwork as the show approaches,
right.
And the haters will come out. But the haters are wrong because you can't, hate his success and his physique.
Right.
I mean, he's like I said, he's always delivered. He's been the most consistent bodybuilder in the last 10 years, bar none, including Dexter.
Had Phil come back the next year and Rhoden been in the show, don't you think the fans all would have been rooting for Rhoden?
Oh, yeah.
Because Phil was still on the hate train with these guys.
Yeah.
Now, after a year off, I know people have such a short memory. Oh, my God. Guarantee people will be cheering for him at that show.
No, they will be cheering because he is the guy up there who has the most amount of Olympias. He's competed, for 10 years, 14, 15 years at the highest level. He's no rookie.
Mm-hmm.
He's exciting to watch.
Absolutely.
So of course people are going to be excited about him.
Right, but they wouldn't have been. What I'm saying is they wouldn't have been as excited if he would have just come back the following year and Rhoden would have been.
No, you're right.
It would be defending his title. It would have all been Rhoden.
They would have been they would have been how dare you come back?
Yeah, they would have been. Right? They would have been mad at him almost. Yeah,
exactly. That's right. They would have been like pissed at him and said, this is Rhoden's show, not your show.
Sure. Now, Phil also has this new relationship with Danny Garcia and The Rock. Danny is his manager. Danny being the ex-wife of The Rock. They have a production company together. They just bought the XFL Football League.
Yeah, from Vince, your friend.
Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
I wonder, what do you think the motivation was behind that was?
For Vince to sell it or Rock to buy it?
No, for The Rock to buy it. Like, why does he want to own a football league?
I don't know. I can say this: it's exciting to own an entire league.
Is it? It seems like a lot of stress to me.
Not if you can delegate the stress and get people to run it for you who are competent.
Right.
And regardless of how much money The Rock has, what's really exciting is to own an NFL team.
Right, I'm surprised they didn't buy a team.
But they're so crazy expensive now. Even the valuations are like, I don't even know what, $1 billion and up.
I know, it's nuts, right?
You used to be able to buy a team 15 years ago for a quarter of that.
Right.
They're less than that. So what if you buy the XFL and it takes off and you have your own league?
Right.
You're there's nothing better than controlling everything from beginning to end.
I haven't even been following it. I remember when Vince launched it. Does it do well? I mean, did it have?
I don't even know. I just know Vince launched it with Vince, and from what I've read, Vince thought he was going to compete with the NFL.
Right.
He was going gung ho on it, and then I was surprised that that he sold it. But Dave, he could have sold it seeing the writing on the wall in terms of, okay, when am I going to have it? There's no baseball has no attendance. Right. NFL has no attendance. NBA has no attendance.
Sure.
Why am I going to launch this at a bad time? Mm-hmm. I mean, Vince has bad luck launching bodybuilding.
I know. Remember when the stuff went down with Hulk Hogan and back in the day with the steroid charges and stuff.
That's right. Then he had to fold up the the bodybuilding league.
WWF, yeah.
And then he has the XFL, and here he is, folding this up. I mean, it's a fold, right? When you sell it. And $15 million is not a lot of money.
No. It would definitely cost him more than that to run that thing, probably. Look, he's a genius when it comes to wrestling. The wrestling, he can't do anything wrong with that. He's so good at it. And obviously now Triple H is in there helping him run it, and Stephanie and the whole family's involved. So, there's nothing. They don't even need to do anything else. I mean, there's so much responsibility with that alone. I don't even know why anyone would want to even. I always ponder this because I'm like, I like to make money, just like I know you like to make money. Because it's exciting. Is there
anyone who doesn't like to make
money? But I mean, like you like to do big things. You take risks and stuff like that. You buy big buildings. I take my own risks. All right. I like to, but at the same time, I'm so busy. And now with kids, and you got kids.
We just talked about this before.
I can't. If someone came to you and I and said, "Hey, Chris, we're going to give you the New York Giants, okay? But you can't sell it. You got to run it. You're going to be 50-50 partners." I'd be like, "Chris, I don't know if we could. I don't even know if we could do it." I said, "I don't even know if I want the responsibility of it."
Well, I would take the responsibility.
No, but you know what I'm saying? It's like after a while, it's like how much more do you want to do? I mean, it's like I'm always amazed by people who just continue to do. I mean, I'm creative. I like to do my own little projects, but I don't know if I like the idea of the burden of responsibility over so many people.
Well, the time factor, right? The time factor. How much time do you have in a day? Right.
I don't have enough time.
You sleep what? How many hours a day?
4 hours a night. 5 hours.
4 hours a day. So you have a 20-hour day. You minus out the kids. You have 2 minutes left.
Yeah.
You have no time for nothing.
Maybe you know what it is, Chris? Maybe once because their kids are all grown, they have more time on their hands. So maybe they think, I'm not spending time. My kids are doing their own thing now. I don't have to worry about them. So let me just, let me get another project going.
Yeah. Dave, I just spoke to someone who is like a real estate idol of mine. Mm-hmm. And he can't comprehend the idea. I said, I have 4 kids. So, because he's critical of me. Yeah. And I go into defense mode of, how many kids do you have? He says, none. I said, you have no idea. No. The freedom. I said, you get to wake up whenever you want.
Right.
You've never had kids, so you don't even have adult, because he's older. You don't have adult kids calling you.
Yeah. It's completely different. It changes your life, and you can't say no to them. It's not like someone, a pain in the ass, calls you up on the phone and says, "Hey, do you want to come over?" and you really don't. And you're like, "No, I can't do it." Yeah. If your kids say, "I need to go here," you got to get in the car and drive them.
Yeah. It's true.
If my daughter says to me, "I want to show you something," I can't say, "Not now. I have to go see it."
Yeah. Too busy right now. Show it to me next week.
Right. I planted a tree today. I had bought this mulberry tree. Amanda loves mulberry trees, and I was in this Lowe's, like one of those stores, whatever. And I saw this mulberry tree. I'm like, I took a picture of it. She's like, buy it. The thing, Chris, when I bought it, I didn't realize how big the base was of this thing. I'm like, how the fuck am I going to? So I bought it. I'm like, how the fuck am I going to get this into my car? Now, luckily, I have the X5, but it's not that big. So if Amanda would have done it, there wouldn't have been a stitch of dirt anywhere. But I'm sweating. It's hot out. I'm like mad, and I become my father. I completely turn into my dad. I lose all patience whatsoever. Thank God I'm alone. I'm not yelling at anyone. There's no one to yell at. And I get the car and I recline the seat, the second row seat. I can't do both of them because I got the car seat, or the kid's car seat on one of them. And I lift this thing up, like, as I'm lifting it up, I'm like, my aorta is going to rupture or something like that. I could see it already. So I'm trying to breathe while I'm doing it. I'm like, don't hold your breath. I'm like, this is if someone would have had a video camera, it would have been hysterical. So I lift this thing into the trunk. Of course, dirt's going everywhere in the back of the trunk. I'm like, fuck it. I'll just vacuum it when I get home. I don't care at this point. I had put some plastic down, but it's not, the plastic got moved aside. And so I get the thing in, and I'm like, all right, it's not all the way in. So now I got to jam the thing in. If Amanda was here, she'd be screaming at me because I'd be breaking the branches off. I'm like, no one's here. No one will even know. I'm like, I squeeze it into the car. So I get this thing home, right? Of course, by the way, it was raining. It starts raining while I'm doing it too, of course. I get home. I unload it, whatever. It's sitting in front of my driveway now for 2 weeks. So I got to plant it, right? That's what I bought the tree for. So, of course, I picked the one day because I've been so busy. I'm doing it today. Kids are in the pool. It's got to be 97 degrees out today. She's like, well, why do you have to do it in the middle of the day when it's hot? Because I said, there's no other time. There's no time. We have no time. The kid got to take a nap.
That's because you choose to have no time, I bet is the answer. Go ahead.
Because you got to go play with your snakes. That's the usual reply. But so I go out there. I get the wheelbarrow. I lift this monstrous tree into the wheelbarrow. Get the shovel. I pull it out across my property. I got a big piece of property. She wants it on the property line. It's the furthest point from the garage you could possibly get. So I drag this thing out. I'm already exhausted just from pulling the cart out to the edge of the property. Now I got to dig a hole. But I got to dig a big hole because it's a big tree. It's not like a little plant I'm putting in the ground. So I start digging. The grass it's like a rock. Okay. Luckily, I got 2 shoulders at least now. I got new shoulders, so that I could do it. I start digging and digging. And I'm going to take my time. And I get down to a point where I'm like, all right, I only need to go another few more inches so I can get this. I'll be able to get the pot in. And I hit basically cement. That's what it feels like. I hit the rock of Gibraltar. There's no way the shovel's going through this rock. Okay. Mm-hmm. There's no way I'm digging another hole next to it or near it. At this point, this tree's going into this fucking hole one way or another. So I get the tree. And so the tree is like a little too tall for the hole. So, making sure no one's looking, I'm pulling off the roots on the bottom, like to make it shorter, basically. Yeah, I get it in the hole. How I took so much dirt out of the hole, how I didn't have enough dirt to fill in the hole. I don't know where the dirt went. I'm like, where the fuck did the dirt go?
Blow away.
It's impossible. I took out a ton of dirt. So I get the thing, I pack it in, and I get the hose. Now I got to drag the hose because now I got to water it, right? Because I watered the thing, drag the hose back. I go get in the pool. I'm almost ready to pass out. I'm like literally, I'm completely become my father. I'm like angry and I'm like sweating to death. And you would have thought that I mowed 40 lawns. That's how much work. And it only took like probably 45 minutes to do it. And so I'm in the pool. We get out of the pool after that, and I'm in the house, and it starts pouring out. Like, thank God I did it. So that was my exercise for the day. Planting this huge tree.
I would have just had, I would have pulled it out of Home Depot or Lowe's, wherever you got it. Yeah. And I know I would have tried to put it in the car, and then it's too much work. I would have called someone, bring it to my house. I
can't do that.
And I would have tried to plant it, and I'd call someone and say, just plant it.
Well, that's what I would have done. But see, if I do that, Amanda thinks that it's not like you're ruining the whole process. Like, it's one thing to have a big palm tree planted, but like she thinks I pay everyone to do things. I'm like, I do. I said my time's valuable. I'd rather be in the pool. Okay. I wanted to prove to her I could plant this fucking monstrous tree on my own.
Tell her I would have just paid someone, just like you did. Listen, and I would have felt better about it. I would have been enjoying. I would have loved the idea of not having to do all that work and be in the pool.
You could have filmed the whole. You could have filmed the whole reality show around me going to pick the tree up and bringing it back and planting it. It would have been rated. The ratings would have been off the charts on it because it was so funny.
You would have said, you see the Phil Heath interview. I said, yeah, I got 30,000 hits. How about planting the tree? 300,000.
Yeah, exactly.
So Phil, right? Go back to the.
Let's get back to Phil.
You did mention Curry. He is Mr. Olympia.
Right. No, I mean, he's the guy to beat. I mean, and with obviously Flex Lewis entering the show this year, there's another guy in the lineup that we didn't have, the last time around. A lot of people think he could win the Olympia. What do you think about that? What's your feeling on Flex? Where do you think he's going to fall?
I think he's going to fall in the first call out. And that he will get favorable calls closer to the middle than he probably should be.
Well, what do you think will be his strengths and weaknesses? Let's look at it from that.
Strengths, they'll turn it into a very strong glute and ham show, which it's not, but glutes and hams,
Right.
2 body parts. Strengths, standing relaxed. Strengths is back double. Weaknesses, I'm going from how he's looked in the past, right?
Well, but that he had to suck down. Think Eduardo Correa, too. Eduardo was a freak show, until he had to make weight.
I think the weaknesses is probably side chest, side tricep, abs and thighs.
Because of his height?
No, I mean just close your eyes and picture what a side tricep look. It's really just standing like he doesn't hit one.
Yeah. Oh, when he just throws the arm down. Yeah.
Yeah, and he doesn't have no. When he turns 3/4 towards the front.
Oh, okay.
And he doesn't have great abs, and his side chest, his legs look thin on, surprisingly, and.
You might be eating all those words when we see what is the unveiling of the new Flex Lewis physique.
Well, that's undeniable. Those are his weakest shots.
Right,
side tricep, abs and thighs. What does abs look like? You tell me. You can't tell me because they're not strong shots.
It's not a strong shot for him. Back shots are very, very strong for him.
Keep in mind, right? He went up against Hadi. They both were the same weight. They're both grown.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the comparison would be, you have to get by Hadi before you get to someone else.
Assuming Hadi can make it to the show. I think the show's going to be very...
Hadi will not be in the show.
No,
mark my word. I might have been wrong on Phil.
Now, here's a good
one. 100% right last year. So
yeah. Let me ask you this question because, I kind of threw this out there when I did my RXMuscle update report when Phil announced. I said, Kai Greene and I know we keep throwing Kai Greene out there, but we have to talk about him because he's an interesting character. His motivations are very driven, almost like in books and movies, right? He needs some kind of motivation to do what he does. Phil coming back to the Olympia would certainly be motivation for Kai to come back because, look, if Kai came back and won the Olympia and beat Curry, for instance, and no one else was in the lineup, people would say, great, yeah, Kai's Mr. Olympia, yeah, but who'd he beat, right? But if Kai comes back and beats Phil, his arch nemesis, now that's a story, right? That's the end of Kai Greene's movie right there. The life of Kai Greene, that's a great ending, right?
Yeah, that would be the you can't write something better than that.
No.
The only crappy part of that is it would be in front of like 11 people if they don't have an audience at the Olympia.
Well, I don't think there's a bodybuilding fan on the planet that probably wouldn't buy the pay-per-view for Kai versus Phil, right?
I know, but nothing's better than being there.
True, but look, it is what it is. We got to operate.
I agree with you. It's we bring up Kai's name a lot, or you do.
Yeah.
A lot of it, I think, is just to make fun of him in a fun way.
No,
But,
I'm not making fun. I'm saying this is a great dramatic reason for him to put on his posing suits again.
100% agree with you.
You know that Dan and Jake Wood are going to roll out the red carpet if Kai wants to come back, and they're going to put out whatever money needs to be put out there on the table for him. So it's not going to be a money thing. He's not going to feel disrespected. He's got motivation now to go after Phil Heath, stop him from winning 8 Olympias and to win his first Olympia and establishes, basically say, here's my legacy I'm leaving behind. It's got every making of a Rocky movie.
Yeah. It's the real movie to the crappy Generation Iron movie.
This would be the real ending, right? This is exactly.
If you could film it, Dave.
Yeah.
Right? If you could film
you don't have to make up anything. This is the real.
No,
real. This is the real thing, not just the made up story that they try to manufacture.
Yeah, it would be phenomenal. It would be absolutely phenomenal story. Even if he didn't win, of course, just the whole idea.
It doesn't matter if he wins or not. Rocky didn't win the first Rocky movie, but everyone still loved Rocky, right?
Yeah.
I mean, He doesn't have to win. He just has to show up and make this Olympia that we thought was going to be probably not even happen because of the whole COVID thing, where half the season got canceled. It could change the scope of 2020 will go on the map as one of the greatest Olympias of all time.
Yeah, it would be phenomenal.
It's like bringing back Ali Frazier, or something like that, or Tyson Holyfield, which we might see also this year sometime, right? Aren't we supposed to see that?
I think so.
That fight?
It's Tyson, Roy Jones, I think, coming up.
Oh, right. Is it Roy Jones?
Maybe not.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's Roy Jones. But still, who's not going to want to watch that?
Yeah,
thank God for all those internet pirates out there. Someone will send me a link to I want to pay for it. But I mean, it's like Tyson is like Kai is like Tyson. It's like
there's an aura about him.
Tyson punches, put the gloves on again. If you can see Kai put the posing suit on one more time, come on. Tyson
in a heavyweight matchup versus like Tyson Fury. Would just the pay-per-view would be crazy.
Yeah, even if Tyson lost, it wouldn't matter.
Yeah, well, the thing people would believe running into it, right? Tyson, he's still got it. Can do it. 55. I've seen videos of him. He can do it.
Well, this is not a good analogy because George Foreman wasn't 50, 5 years old. But when Foreman came back and made that comeback, people thought it was the biggest joke of all time.
Yeah.
He was fat. He was like 300 something pounds.
Well, Butterbean was fat too. Look at him.
And Foreman he wouldn't sit down between rounds.
Yeah.
He was fighting the biggest loser. I remember watching my dad loved boxing. We would watch these fights. I'm like, my father's like, what's this guy doing? He's fat. My father loved to call people fat if they were out of shape, which is funny because my father wasn't in the greatest shape either. But he'd be like, look at this fat. So what is he doing? I said, I don't know. He's winning fight after fight. And he was fighting like once a month, if you remember.
Yes, that's right.
Because he had to get himself back into shape. And then I think he got a shot at someone, right?
More.
No. I think he fought Tyson, didn't he, or something like that? And he lost.
Holyfield gave him a
Holyfield, he lost. He went the distance, I think, right? But he didn't. Yeah. And then he gets the fight with Moore, and it was like that was like another rock. And everyone said it, and even Teddy Atlas is in the corner with his fighter Moore, and he's like, "Stay away from this guy. Just trust me. You got the fight won already. Stay away from him. I've seen him fight. He's got a knockout punch. It doesn't matter that he's 45 or 46 years old and he's a little overweight. If he catches you with a punch, he's gonna knock you out."
That's right. He got caught.
And he got caught and he won. I mean, that was the greatest thing of all time. I mean, and Tyson, and Foreman was a hated champion when Muhammad Ali beat him. He was also a misunderstood, angry guy. And
when he came back, he was beloved.
Oh yeah, because he had the Foreman grill. It was like he was like everyone's grandfather. That kind of thing. So I'd love to see Tyson come. I'd love to see Kai come back because. And the funny thing about bodybuilders coming back is that there's no physical contact on stage, So it's not like they got to worry about getting hurt or something like that.
We don't know.
Yeah, that's true. They could absolutely, which would make it even more exciting if they'd actually throw a few punches at each other. Yeah. So, I mean, we're probably going to have to settle for Curry, Dexter, Phil. That's going to be our top three probably. Unless somehow, if I were Bonac, I would fucking move over here, wouldn't you? I'd move to the U.S.
I'd get on a boat now.
Yeah,
get on a fishing boat or something like a cargo boat.
Yeah,
And
I think that Bonac matches up good with Heath.
Bonac,
better than Curry.
Well, they have different physiques. They have different physiques, and you got to see these guys in the lineup. But the fact is, Phil's Phil, and he's got to be considered the favorite, actually, the overwhelming favorite, because he's won so many Olympias.
Absolutely.
I mean, you can't say Brandon Curry, the current Mr. Olympia, is the favorite over the how many times Phil won? 7? 7-time Mr. Olympia.
Do you think Phil comes back smaller than he was, bigger than he was? How's the abdominal area look in your estimation, if you had a guess?
the abdominal area cannot get better
Yeah, I don't think so either.
at all.
So does he come in smaller to try to make it better, which is usually a mistake, and it usually looks worse when they do that. But yeah.
Well, the flip, you're stuck between a rock and a hard place. If you try to come in smaller, it might look worse. If you try to come in rounder, it may look worse. You don't know.
Yeah. They got a tough job, him and Hadi, because they got to try to figure out a formula that's going to win the show. Not that's going to be the best Phil, but that's going to win the show. I think that's what they have to go after, and that's going to depend on who's in that lineup.
100%.
Do you agree?
100%. It's who you stand in. That show is always, at this point, it's going to be how people show up at the show, and how Phil shows up at the show.
Right.
They still judge it. You know what, Dave? I'll never forget. I'll never forget, like it was like 40 years ago. We did the preview show to the Olympia in 2018. Me and Sid, 2 days before the show, and about 3 days before the show in my room. And I had already seen Shawn and thought, okay, he's going to win for sure. I mean, in my mind, this is, he'll win. But I said, you know what? And everyone said, Phil. You go to the press conference, even the other competitors, with the exception of Shawn, Phil. And I told Sid, you know what, Sid? The good thing about the judges, though, is they judge it.
Yeah, they'll judge what's up there.
And that's what they're going to do with Phil, Curry, Dexter, whoever's in the show. We don't know who's in the show. If Bonac shows up, if Ramy shows up, if Roelly shows up, who knows if they're in the show.
I got a better question for you.
But they're just going to judge it. They're going to judge it.
Where does Ramy qualify for the show? What show can he possibly do at this point? Is there a European show he can do?
I think what's going to happen is they're going to have to take who's won shows this year, which is what, 2 people, 1 person, 2 people.
Yeah.
We have what we have to choose from is the Arnold, and you take what, the winner only, right?
Well, they have the point system too, so they got the top 5 point getters too that'll go. Okay.
I mean, there's not a big crowd in the Olympia this year, so I think they're going to have to go back to
Curry's qualified already. Bonac's qualified. Hadi, Choopan is qualified. Yeah. Dexter, Roelly, Heath, obviously Cedric, Nathan Diasha, Juan Burrell, and Flex Lewis. So,
10. You want to have an Olympia with just 10?
Why not? They're going to get a couple more, right? They got New York Pro is going to be in Tampa.
Yeah, you got New York Pro. You got Hunter. There's 12.
Right.
You got the Cal contest 13. Anyone else? Any others?
There's a Chicago Pro show taking place.
14. Okay, yeah. So yeah, that's enough. 15 people is enough to have the show.
Yeah, I mean, and there might be a couple more that I'm not thinking about, but I think they'll have enough to qualify. But can Ramy qualify? Where's he going to qualify?
Chicago or
how's he going to get to Chicago?
Oh, he gets on the boat with Bonac from the Netherlands. There's a travel ban against Europeans, but is there a travel ban against people coming from Kuwait? I don't think so.
I don't know. Maybe Bader can fly him in on his private jet or something.
Yeah,
like that. He's got
drop him off like DB Cooper or whatever the guys. Remember?
They can parachute him
him out.
Yeah.
They have like 4 parachutes with Ramy because of.
They'll have Blackman's living on the New York Sound. They'll have like the waving them down. Right here, drop him over here.
We'll do an interview with them. We'll do an interview with them before we
shower him off at my house. We got a great big shower with cameras set up. Oh shit.
I don't know. I forgot about that. I think you can come from Kuwait. I think, but not Europe.
He's the only one who doesn't seem like he's qualified. So, right? Am I missing anyone? Was Dexter in that lineup?
Yeah,
Dexter's Mr. Olympia, so yeah, he can do it too. So. Yeah, I think Ramy's the only real top name that hasn't qualified.
Yeah,
for the Olympia. I mean, if Kai wanted to do it, they would give him a special invite. So that's.
I thought he exhausted his special invites.
I don't know. You think if he called up Dan and said, "Dan, I'm doing it,"
they'd take him in 2 seconds.
3 seconds.
One more. We'll give you one more chance.
It's like when your kid, when you don't really want to punish your kid because you guys are going on a trip or something like that, and you keep threatening him, and he knows that he could get away with it because he knows you're going on this trip. So
yeah. Well, you threaten him with something like outrageous.
Yeah.
There's a monster out there. If you don't behave, I'm gonna send you out in the yard.
My new thing is I tell them I'm going to send them to. I feel bad because I really like the neighbors. I'm like, you're going to go to Carol and Cindy's house. You're going to spend the whole day with them, and they're going to make you. They're going to put you to work. You're going to have to dig in the garden. You're going to have to clean with them.
Don't make it. They got a big scary dog in the basement.
He liked that. He'd like that. He's like, that's cool. Like, I'll bring my blaster. He's obsessed with the guns, my son now, and we don't want any guns. We don't want him playing with guns. So I'm bought him this.
It's a Second Amendment, a First Amendment, second. Yeah, tell him that he's got the
right. His own guns out of like Legos, and he's got this blaster now. It's like we had to take it away from him. He's out of his mind. He puts it in my head. He assassinates me with the thing.
My sister told me, when I have kids, I'm never going to let them have toy guns. It teaches them the wrong thing. They had guns
rifles.
Yeah,
he watches all the videos, with the Nerf guns. That's the new big thing. And he wants a Nerf gun, and we won't get it from him because I know that he'll take my eye out. He'll take my other eye out. That I only have one good eye. I'll be the one who gets shot with the Nerf.
You got to be on your toes when you're around them when they have guns.
He blasts me in the pool with the squirting guns all the time.
Oh yeah, loves that.
Sure. He likes to do the sneak attack too on me. Sometimes he'll jump on me. Thank God I got a big neck. My father's always like, it's important to have a strong neck. He's right. I didn't know how right he was.
You didn't have as big a neck as Cro-Magnon.
Cro-Magnon only had a 12-inch neck. 14 inches it was. I was born with a 14-inch neck.
Yeah. I
still have a big neck. Like when you have a big head, you have to have a big neck to hold your head on.
Well, you have a big brain, so you have to.
That's right. Oh, I got to pull that thing up. Did you see that video I sent you on yourself?
Which one? Yeah.
Did you know about that?
Of course. Someone posted that up recently and sent it to me.
Oh. That's a good video. I'm going to pull it up. Hold on.
All right, I got to talk. I'll give you the cue. This is Bob Gruskin, like crash prep.
Oh, is it?
Oh yeah, I was thinking of him today.
Hold on, let me see if I can find this thing. Someone sent it to me. It was put up recently.
Yeah, very recent.
No, set up the show while I'm looking for it.
Okay, so I think I was doing like a photo shoot for Bleckman. I think it's
really?
92. And I went down to Bob's and he said, "Oh, you look really good." And I said, "Yeah, Bob." And so they had like the NABA USA. And whoever won the class or something, like got sick or something, couldn't do it. So Bob says, "I'm the president. Come on, you come with me to England in 3 weeks." I'm like, "Bob, I can't do a contest in 3 weeks. You're going to have to help me like every day." And so maybe it was like 5 weeks or something. And so I let him, Bob, just do your thing. And that was it.
How many weeks did you diet for?
Well, I was already in pretty decent shape, but I dieted maybe like 6 weeks.
Right.
But I was in decent shape. I was in good shape because I was shooting something for Bleckman.
Oh, did you win this show?
No.
Where had you place?
I got like 6th.
Oh, really? You look actually pretty good here.
Yeah, pretty good.
And how old were you?
I look like Barry DeMay.
Yeah, actually. Good posing. Good routine. I can't
look like Bill Miko right there.
How old were you?
Perfect here, 24.
Wow.
That's probably, Dave, so that morons can know and laugh. I guarantee that is no more than 250 tests and 200 primo a week. Guaranteed.
Really? Wow.
Guaranteed. Because I was,
Were you in college or had you gotten out at this point?
I was out of college. I was living in Maine somewhere. I was in Maine.
Oh, you hadn't gone to California? Or you?
No, I just I moved back to Maine after college.
Fine. Where was this? Do you remember what city this was in?
No.
You don't remember where the 92 NABA Universe was?
Oh, England. Somewhere in England.
Oh, you were in England. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you said that you flew over there.
Yeah. Mohammed Mustafa won the class.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, I went backstage and Muhammad Mustafa was like this. Bob said, "Oh, this is Bob.
Yeah.
Oh. I'd say, he's making noises. Here's Bob. Oh. This Arab kid looks great. Dave, I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. Next thing I see, Muhammad Mustafa,
Yeah.
light up a cigarette while he's pumping up.
They used to do that backstage, yeah.
Lit up. He was pumping up, Muhammad Mustafa.
Bob's like, you want a light? He's like, Bob, you got a light?
Bob was smoking.
No, I know Bob smokes, but I'm saying
Backstage. His
Oh,
English. Yeah. That's why I had the pen in my mouth imitating Bob. It's like,
the European
Arab guy looks strong.
he's like, Bob. The funny thing is, when I went to the one show I told you in Spain, the one thing about European shows, I don't know if it's still that way. There was no air conditioning. People were smoking cigarettes like it was going out of style, and everyone was walking around completely naked, men and women. No one had any clothes on.
Oh, in Spain?
Yeah.
What show did you go to there?
It was a women's show, so there was no men, but there was.
Oh, was
the world when collected the World Amateur Championship.
Yeah.
I said, you're not walking around naked. I said, you go in the stall and change.
Yeah.
We're Americans. We're uptight about these things.
Yeah,
I said, I know you're not uptight, but I'm uptight. I said,
yeah.
so. But there was girls walking around naked, smoking cigarettes, everyone smoking, and no air conditioning, swelteringly hot. Yeah. Middle of the summer.
Yep.
That's Europe.
That was it. Smoking.
By the way, everyone stunk because no one wears deodorant over there. Stunk to high. The body odor, and it wasn't coming from the competitors. It was coming from the people helping all the sweaty, dressed people who were helping the competitors. Those are the people who stunk.
Yeah.
So take the stink of the body odor, add on top of that the farts from the people eating all the fucking dieting food,
the tan,
and the tanning, right?
The peanut butter smell on the rice cakes.
100% humidity. It was horrendous back there, and the cigarette smoke on top of that. I said, I really don't want to stay back here. I said, even though there's a lot of pretty women back here, I said, I'd really like to get the hell out of here and go sit in the audience, which was also not air conditioned as well. And the pre-judging was like 10 hours long for the one class.
Why so long?
Because what they did in Europe, they used to have it when Raphael was at least running it. There was 11 judges, right? So each judge gets to submit their own top 5 pick. So they do 11 top 5 call-outs. Now Colette won.
Yes, that's right.
I was like, what? Why do we need to see every single one of them? Every judge gets to do their top 5.
Oh my gosh.
Explain.
Yeah.
That's how she won the show. Everyone else was dying up there. She was like smiling. She loved it. I said, she's going to win. I said, no one can stay up there as long as her. She could pose all day long. I said like that.
Yeah, it's interesting. I forgot how they do that in those shows where so some people get compared to like, this guy shouldn't even be in the top 11, right? And he's being compared to the winner.
Judging panel who thinks that he looks good and puts him in the top call. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. Most of the calls were pretty consistent, but yeah, you're right. Every once in a while, you get like, where did this person come from? Well, yeah, his friend is judging, so you put him in the first call when he should be in the last call.
Yeah.
Anyway, what's your take on the whole Luke? Fuad did a TV show, and he said that he had Luke's training partner on there.
Best friend.
He said he had suicide.
Yeah, he stood by it.
Suicide is the act.
Did you hear that? I said suicide. Siri, my iPhone, started giving me the definition of suicide.
Well, I'm surprised she didn't try to blow up and kill you. I think that I would agree with Ben, his best friend.
Yeah, I would too. Well, you know what? I guess you could say the official cause of death. I had a guy who's like works for the police over there in England and contacted me. And he said that he said that the way they do things there is a little weird. So it could take 3 4 weeks to get back an autopsy result. And if they deem the cause of death cardiac arrest, it doesn't matter what caused it. So if he caused his own cardiac arrest, the cause of death would be cardiac arrest. You understand?
I understand.
So if he did have problems and he did commit suicide, which it seems as though he did from what everyone is saying, whatever he did to himself caused a cardiac arrest, which was the cause of death. And I think so. Both schools of thought were correct, but I think it's not helping people by making it pretend like it wasn't a suicide if it was, because obviously he had some mental health issues that and some problems, and I think that it was great. I think that it came to light in the wake of his death that if people do have problems, they should contact people and talk to friends and loved ones and stuff like that and seek help, because there are people that are depressed.
Well, Dave, people see depression and mental health issues as a weakness, and that's why they don't like to talk about it, especially men, especially powerful men.
Sure.
Whether it be in the business world or bodybuilding professionals, that's just a fact.
Oh.
And society looks on it as a just just get it together, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, and throw on Anthony Robbins tape and take on the day.
Right.
And it doesn't work that way at all.
Yeah, it's true. I had a guy contact me asking me about stress and anxiety, and he it's paralyzing to him. He can't function. He can't eat his food the way he should. He can't go to the gym sometimes. And my take on this, and look, I don't have depression. Aside from once in a while you get depressed sometimes, but I don't have like chronic depression. But I do know this, and I took this to heart when I read this and heard Wayne Dyer talk about this. The late Wayne Dyer, who's someone who was very influential in my life, just from all the reading and stuff I watched on him. And he said, "There's no such thing." Okay, well, he didn't say this. He said, "Have you ever seen a bucket of anxiety or a bucket of stress? Can you put it in a bucket? No. Why? Because it doesn't exist. It's something we create in our mind." So a lot of the thoughts we have and a lot of the things that we allow to paralyze us and not allow us to do the things that we love is because of something that doesn't even exist. We've created it on our own. And it's an erroneous way of thinking, basically. And so if you change the way you think, the things you think about change. And that's what you have to try to, and obviously sometimes it's hard. You get into this rut where you can't get yourself out of it, but you need to have people you can talk to who can walk you through that, because it really is. I mean, it's like drug addiction. Drug addiction is the stupidest thing of all time. I mean, you take something that's you think is making you feel better, but it's actually making you feel worse and making your situation worse. But yet you keep taking it.
Yeah.
That's insanity. That's the definition of insanity. Thinking you're going to take more of it, it's going to feel better. You're going to feel, and you're going to keep feeling worse. So same thing with that. I mean, in the same light, if you can't talk yourself through it, you need other people to help you. And that's why they have, healthcare professionals that do psychology counseling, psychiatric counseling, whatever you want to call it. It's important that you can talk to someone who can talk you off the horse, so to speak, and try to show you that, hey, you know what? You're not thinking rationally here. This is not a real thing. You're creating it in your mind. Now, why are you creating it in your mind? Do you have a chemical imbalance, or do you have something that happens to you experientially that's affecting you and you need to get that out? And those are the only two options, right?
But some of those things that have affected you and formed who you are, and negatively have informed who you are over time, those create in turn a chemical imbalance. And once you have a chemical imbalance, you have a chemical imbalance. It's hard to think your way out of it or talk to somebody,
right?
You know what I mean? And alleviate what's a chemical imbalance.
Well, that's why they treat with both, antidepressants and therapy. I think you have to do both, really, initially.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, it's just mental illness is one of the hardest things for people to overcome. It's what leads to, I mean, you talked about drug addiction. People self-medicate with all kinds of things to alleviate either the pain or to temporarily suspend the feeling of being in balance. It's a deep topic, and the idea that a lot of people can get out of it. I mean, people do get out of it, but it's a lot of people with clinical depression, as I'm sure lots of people, they relapse into that state as well.
Yeah. Well, I have a guy who contacted me and said, "Hey, Dave, can I use Adderall every day on my diet? I get great workouts. I don't feel as hungry." I said, he's like, "What do you think?" I said, "Well, why don't you just snort a couple lines of cocaine?" and he got it. He was laughing. I said, just because it's a prescription drug, you're going to get your doctor to write your prescription, doesn't mean it's something you want to take. I said, you're getting yourself into a hole that you might not be able to climb out of. I said, you're better off doing snorting a line of coke, once in a while. Not that I'm condoning that. I'm just saying it's the same thing you're doing. You're self-medicating yourself because with a drug that you don't really need. There are people who need it. You don't need it. I said, you want it because you feel good on it, but eventually you don't feel good on it anymore after a while. And you just have to take it because if you don't take it, you don't feel normal anymore. Mm-hmm. So he got the message. Luckily, he's not going to do it. But this is, bodybuilding, because we use drugs, steroids and stuff like that, it's not that hard to use other drugs. It makes it a lot easier, the decision, because if you could inject steroids, 3 times a week, what's popping in a couple pills here and there, or, snorting a line of coke, or, people just they don't think twice about it. It's not a big deal, whereas the normal person in everyday society wouldn't just do that,
Yeah, no, you're right. It's easy.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy.
So anyway, I feel bad for Luke's family and everything like that, and his friends that lost him, and you had a good relationship with him, obviously, and you were working with him. It's sad we lost a good guy, but hopefully, some people, could learn from that, and if it could have prevented one other death, then great. I think that it was
very sad. He would have just turned 32 last week, I think. 32?
Yeah, it was his 32nd birthday. So what do you think about the New York Pro? Let's go on to something a little bit more.
Moving to Tampa. I mean, you were complaining when they moved it to New Jersey, Dave.
Well, what the problem is? All the gyms are closed in New York. I feel bad for Steve Weinberg. He's got to be going crazy. He can't have his gym hasn't been open in months. He can't hold any shows up there. He's got to do. He doesn't want to hold the show. I know a lot of people are probably want to do it. They need Olympia qualifiers. So I guess Tim Gardner's show went off well, right, this week. So they must have contacted the hotel where he's held it, and I guess they said we can make it happen. So they're going to be doing New York Pro in Tampa, which is kind of weird because, the New York Pro has always been known for the New York audience, right? That's what made that show. When it was Night of Champions, and then when it got converted even to New York Pro, the audience is what made that show special. If you can make it here, you can make it anywhere, the old New York saying. Mm-hmm. Does it still hold true in Tampa?
Yeah, I mean, it's just at the end of the day, it's really important that they had the show, simply because, I mean, you have to have these shows if you're going to salvage the year.
Yeah. I think they had a Weinberger for doing the show, Chris, because you know what? There's no way they're making money on the show.
Zero way. It's
not the prize money. Yeah, not the prize money. Remember, there's no amateur show associated.
Just to open up the door costs a fortune. Just to open up the door. Hi, we have the venue. Hi, the hotel. We're here. Hi, we're flying in judges. Mm-hmm. Blah blah blah. It's a fortune, small fortune. So it really is. So you're gonna have a limited audience again, right? I mean, you have to.
Yeah, I think they're gonna do the live stream again, probably.
Yeah.
If they did it, I don't know if Tim did well on that or not. But it was available, obviously, for people to do it.
But it's great that they're having it. It's funny that they're having it in Tampa, but better than anything.
Who do you think is going to be in the show?
I don't know. Same lineup from Tampa. Half the guys from Tampa. And everyone, I mean, you've probably guaranteed those, that, and who else? You don't know, because you don't know. You know what? I know people who it's not the people I help. Everyone's in the same boat. Everyone's prep for every show has been hindered to a mild degree and to a major degree.
Yeah.
And so many people have had shows postponed. Some people I know have thrown in the towel and say I'm shutting it down this year. Some people say, "Oh, I'll keep on going." Some people go off the diet, on the diet, on the diet, off the diet. So I don't know who they're going to get in the lineup. I mean, they'll get people in the lineup for sure. And
I see they've added women's bodybuilding to the lineup. That's cool because Wings of Strength stepped up. So Jake Wood once again sponsoring, putting up some money for this show. That's great. Making it happen. Man, I've said it before. If I was a woman bodybuilder, if I was a women's physique competitor, I'd be doing all these women's
Nobody's listening to you, Dave.
Nope, they won't listen. I know Shelby Starnes has got a bunch of women's physique competitors he helps. I said, you should put him in the bodybuilding. What are you, crazy? And how much? Who knows how much money? I guarantee they're going to give more money away from Miss Olympia than they're going to give from the women's physique Olympia champ.
Oh, guaranteed.
I already said I want to see Iris Kyle and Shanique Grant on stage.
Why don't you take a guess, Dave? What do you think they're going to give away for Miss Olympia? I'll take a guess. I'll write it down. There you go.
100,000.
Yep. Hey, want me to show you? I wrote it on 100.
Let me see.
Look. Can you see that? I wrote down, look, where's my 100.
Yeah.
Yeah? I circled it.
That would be great if they did that.
Would still be winners on the match game.
Yeah.
Match game.
We got to play. Yeah. I think that these physique women are missing the boat. I said I said that they should combine them. I already told you this. I think they should combine the divisions. But if they don't do that, women's physique girls, dummies, do the women's bodybuilding shows that are coming up, qualify for the Olympia, win a lot of money.
I'll tell you what. Second place, 100 for first. Maybe Jake will even go higher than that.
50,000.
Second place is not going to be 16. It's not going to drop off a cliff. Yeah, it'll be something big.
Or he might do for first. He does. What did he do? 50,000 plus the car last year.
Yeah, so there's 100 right there.
He could do 75 plus the car. Guaranteed, it's going to be a good, nice prize package. That's his thing. He loves the women bodybuilders. But you know what? These women's physique girls are just as big. People think Iris Kyle is this crazy huge bodybuilder.
No,
she's like 160 pounds on stage. These women's physique girls are bigger than that.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I would if I was look, no one's going to beat Shanique Grant. We know that unless she decides something happens to her. If I was the second, third, fourth place girls from last year and the women, I would do bodybuilding. I would do bodybuilding. Forget it.
You get a good point.
They got a better chance of beating Iris than they would beating Shanique Grant. That's for sure. And if I was Shanique, I would do women's bodybuilding. If they were giving away that much money, I'd be like, you know what? Screw this. I'm doing women's bodybuilding. Yeah. She should do the New York Pro in women's bodybuilding. She's from Jersey. Do the New York Pro, win that in bodybuilding, and then do the Olympia in bodybuilding. So Iris Kyle versus Shanique Grant is almost as exciting as Kai.
I knew you were going to say that, Phil. Dave, I can put words into your mouth. I can finish your sentence.
I got news for you. That's almost exciting.
I know you got news for me. That's like I knew you were going to say that news.
Who wins that? That's a better one. Remember, Iris is at the end of her career. Shanique's at the beginning of her career. Who wins Shanique versus Iris?
Well, Shanique could easily gain 4 pounds of muscle. That's.
She's definitely going to be bigger than she was last year. She's not going to be as big as Iris, obviously, but she's probably got her waist is probably half the size of Iris's.
Yeah.
Who wins? I don't know. I'd love to see her.
Iris will do the 6 hours cardio a day, though, if she needs to get down. If she needs to.
Shanique does the work, too. She's always in great shape the last couple of years. It would be a great battle. And you know what? The two of them would love it, too, because it would bring so much attention to women's bodybuilding. Again, people would be talking about it.
Linda don't have time to jump in, does she?
Linda.
She's not going to pull an Arnold. Remember when Arnold went out to do the color commentary?
Yeah.
And then he said, well, I'm here. I'm going to do it.
I'd love to see that, too. That's like Linda jumping in is like Kai being in the show. Shanique going up against Iris is like Flex Lewis, going up against Brandon Curry there.
Good
So.
analogy.
Or against Phil Heath, I guess. So.
Well, does a lot of storylines.
A little smack talk between Flex Lewis and Phil, wouldn't you?
Well, you're going to get it between Phil and Brandon.
Yeah, you will, but you won't get it. Flex will be like,
Flex ain't going to say nothing.
Like politically sad.
Oh, I respect all these champions.
Yeah,
well, Brandon Curry, great champion, Dave. Phil Heath. So you're going to get it. Listen, you're going to get it from Brandon, and you're going to get it from Phil. You're going to get it big time.
What's Brandon going to say? He's very quiet too.
You will get it.
It's going to be a love fest up there, believe me.
No. Running into the show, listen.
The only person you're going to get any smack talk out of is if they show up would be Dexter and Rhoden if we can get him in the lineup,
Yeah, Rhoden would have a lot of things to say at the press conference, I'm sure.
He'd make if he got in the show, he'd make the whole. He probably would be almost better than Kai there. I mean, Kai obviously fan favorite, but Rhoden would be great because it's like this guy keeps getting stuff taken away from him. Just before he's about to accomplish something great. He's Mr. Olympia and he can't even defend the title. So, I mean, no one's gone through more bull over the last couple of years than him. So, he would certainly have a lot to say at the press conference.
Yeah, maybe he should get Alan as a lawyer.
Yeah. He's got to go to trial already. I mean, this thing has taken forever. I mean, I don't know what the hell is going on here with this trial. I wish we knew.
I said it last week. I said if find out from a lawyer, a lot of lawyers.
Yeah.
What is the average time it takes to go to court?
The problem is with this whole COVID thing is probably
bullshit. Before that, even that's March.
OJ went to trial before fucking Rhoden went to trial. I don't know. I mean, what the hell taking so long?
That was for murder.
Well, this is rape. He's facing jail time. I mean, unless his side of his lawyers, have to prepare some kind of special trial for him. I don't know.
Maybe. Yeah. I was gonna say maybe he won't get a fair trial in Utah.
But he's got to get tried. So I mean, unless they're dismissing the charges, I mean, I don't see that happening. He's gonna have to go to trial and win this thing. Look, if it's a weak case and he's got a good lawyer, they could win. Because remember, you only need one juror to say he's not guilty. They got to get a unanimous guilty verdict for him to go to jail. That's not going to happen if the case is flimsy. I don't care if there's discrimination or not. Okay, there's going to be one person on there who's going to do the right thing. That's the way it is. However, if it's not a weak trial, not a weak case, and then they have a strong case against him, then he's in trouble. So
don't you think if they had an ironclad case, they would have had it already?
No, because his side could be delaying it too for
No.
operations.
Don't you think if they had an ironclad case, his side doesn't decide when to go into trial?
The judge does.
The state does.
Yeah.
The state. Don't you think if they had an ironclad case? This is 2 years in the making coming up on.
Isn't the Constitution say you have a right to a speedy trial?
How speedy is this? I say it again. If they had an ironclad case, just go out on a limb. If we had an ironclad case, don't you think they would have gone to trial by now?
I don't know. I don't know who's the one delaying it. I don't know if it's the state or his side.
Well, the state's the one who picks the date. Right,
but I know like you can file motions to dismiss certain evidence and stuff like that. That could be going on.
What do you think he's got Alan Dershowitz? Only Alan Dershowitz could delay it this long.
Who knows? I don't know. I don't know what's going on. How come we can't how come this stuff is not public knowledge? In Florida, everything's public record.
I don't know. We don't have some listener who can snoop.
I got to get Romano on this case to start covering it, right?
Yeah, he's married to a lawyer. He'll know.
That's right. I'll ask him tomorrow.
Or you can get.
Ask him on after hours.
You can get the guy with the arms.
Valentino.
He'll know.
What's he gonna know? What's his legal expertise?
He'll just wing it. It'll sound legal. It'll sound very legal.
I knew Marsha Clark. I was very good friends.
Listen. If you had for any case Valentino on a jury. He'd poison the whole entire, right? He'd never stop talking.
They would dismiss him in 3 seconds if he ever came. You know, when they question the
No,
jury.
because you know what? He'd be
they'll be like dismissed. They'll be like dismissed.
No, but he'd be smart enough to like but slide his way into any jury. And then, right, he would poison the. I don't mean that in a negative way. He would just not stop. He would take the opposing view on.
He'd be asking questions. Yeah, because the jury asks questions, right?
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah, it'd be perfect to have on a if you were right.
Yeah.
Embezzlement. Pick the case.
Yeah. He's very conservative, though. He's become very conservative in his old age. I think he would send a lot of people to jail, though. I don't think he's as liberal as you think anymore.
No,
he's old. When you hit 60, you become a conservative. It's inevitable.
Yeah.
So.
You think
all right. Well, good news. Phil Heath doing the Mr. Olympia. That's good. The New York Pro will take place in Tampa. So stuff to smile about, guys out there. Come on, wake up. Feel good about yourself. This is good news for the bodybuilding world. So far, the Olympia is still on. That's another good sign. Tim Gardner proved that you can hold the pro show and make it work. That was good. So things are improving, I guess. I feel bad for the people in New York and New Jersey that are on such lockdown. And those, I got to send out my prayers to these guys at Attili's gym.
Yes,
you saw the video I did with interview I did with Ian. Oh boy, this governor! They went to war with this governor. He wants to fine them like $5,000 a day or something like that, like some crazy amount of money. He's shut them down every way possible. They've opened up every way possible. It's disgusting, to be honest with you. And the funny thing is, they make a good point. Some of the places that are open, that are deemed necessary, are so ridiculous that they can be open and his gym can't be open is ludicrous.
Dude, there's people.
Strip clubs are essential services. Did you know that? Strip clubs are open, but I
didn't know that. It's not surprising. Yeah. Liquor stores are essential service.
Yeah.
Listen, you see,
because the congressman got to get their fucking bottle of booze. That's why.
I see people in the junk food section of my Walmart, 3.5 inches away from each other, scrambling for junk food. I'm dead serious.
I believe it.
I went the other day with my son, and we walked by the snack section, the chips. And he said, "Can we get some chips?" Yeah, I love chips. I said, "Yeah, let's go." We couldn't get down the aisle. I was so afraid to get down. Because people, they have the one way, and people can't follow the one way. They have to come both right. They crash into each other,
and then they're afraid. Oh, you don't breathe on me.
Yeah, well, they're honestly they're a foot and a half away, but the gym's got to be closed.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, it's. I understand these guys' point. Listen. Restaurants,
they're doing everything by the book too. They're doing every health precaution possible. Leave them a fucking alone. They want to just fucking make a living for themselves. I don't understand what's going on here.
Well, like I say, if they just shut them down and write them a check for the lost money.
Yeah. Instead, they're fining them because they want to open the gym. All right, guys. You guys out there, we're pushing for you over there in Attili's gym. Don't give up the good fight. I know you might become the martyrs and the victims, but you know what? And I know it's costing you a fortune, but you know what? You guys are going to help change things, because if everyone just gives in, then nothing changes. And so we respect you, as people who love to train, that you are not giving in and that you're giving your members an ability to work out during a situation that's just not good, and that's the way it is. All right, guys, you know what to do. Like we say every week, remember, with Heavy Muscle Radio,
the truth hurts.
Good night, everyone. We'll see you next week.